Hi, everybody. My name is Tasha. I am a double gold consultant and a three-time IATAN card holder. So this week we've kind of been talking about multiple destinations, and this is sort of multiple destination, but it's talking about why we should focus on not just the cruise, but everything before and after the cruise for our clients, right? Can you guys see my screen? I feel like sometimes I think I share and then I don't think I really shared. Perfect. All right. So, one of the biggest things, and a lot of times, and you may not realize this, cruises are one of the things that all the time, or pretty much most of the time, unless we have an agency exclusive rate code, they are going to be the same price on the consumer site. All right. So, one of the things that we do as travel agents for our clients is we arrange more than just the cruise so that we're giving a full package. So, this more is going to talk about, the different things we take care of before and after a cruise, during a cruise for our clients, but also the ways that we find those things. Okay. So, why is it so important? Number one, we want to avoid our clients missing their departures. Cruise ships don't wait. And a lot of people who've never cruised before, or who maybe they've cruised before, but they lived close to a port and they drove and now they're flying, they don't think about the fact that they shouldn't arrive the day of the cruise. Arriving at the embarkation port where you're starting the cruise at least a day early, 2 days early if they're flying overseas to Europe, reduces the risk of delays from flight cancellations, weather, and lost luggage. When they say this cruise last, all aboard time is 2:30, if you show up at 2:31, you're probably not getting on the ship. Even if sail away is 3:30 or 4 o'clock. Whatever that all aboard time is, that's the all aboard time. And they stick to it, both at the beginning of a cruise and in every port. It's really important. This helps create stress-free for our clients from the start to the end. The extra time lets our travelers adjust to time zones if they're changing time zones, relax, and enjoy a city instead of rushing straight to the ship or an airport. Nobody wants to be stressed that they're not going to make it in time to this vacation that they just invested all of this money in, right? It also allows people to explore more. A lot of the places that the cruise ships start, they are destinations within themselves, right? Some of the big ones we think Miami, Rome, Barcelona, Seattle. I mean, all of them, right? But if somebody's flying to Europe for a cruise, or maybe they take a transatlantic cruise to Europe, why not extend that trip so they can actually enjoy parts of Europe on land? If I'm taking a cruise from Europe and that cruise is a week long, my vacation is going to be at least 2 weeks because I want to also explore the areas that I can easily get to, but my cruise ship couldn't. We can add a night or two or more to explore and make the most of the trip for the client. Right? Now, is this always possible to add multiple days? No, because somebody's taking a 7-day cruise and they have to be back for work. They can't leave early. There are those restrictions, but at minimum, the requirement is a day before in the port city, right? And sometimes we have to educate our clients on that. This is going to create smoother travel logistics. Post-cruise flights have to be timed very carefully. Disembarkation, leaving the ship delays can happen. Your clients are going to see something like, oh, arrive in Port Canaveral at 7:30 a.m. I can be on a flight by 10 a.m. No, no, you cannot. Just the arrival time has nothing to do with the time that that ship clears customs. You have to clear customs. You're coming back into the United States. You have to wait for luggage to be brought off of the ship. You have to go through the terminal and go through customs. And the port I just said, Port Canaveral, is at least a 45-minute drive to Orlando Airport without traffic. So even if I walked off that ship at 7:30, which is unlikely, the earliest I would be able, to get my transportation and get to Orlando Airport is probably going to be 9. And if my flight is at 10:30, it's unrealistic. I've seen people be in the TSA line 2 or more hours in Orlando because it's a really busy airport. The recommendation is to book later than noon or 1 p.m. to be safe. Okay. I've done things because there's a lot of times I have to fly home the day I get off the cruise ship. I'm a teacher. And if I get off the ship on a Sunday, I have to be home that night because I cannot take the next day off of school. We're not allowed to take a personal day before or after a vacation. They will not pay us. Okay. So I have to fly home that night. A lot of times I take a flight that's at 6 p.m., 7 p.m., 8 p.m. at night. I can go to the airport. They have luggage storage that you can pay for because they won't let you check your luggage in until 3 or 4 hours before your flight. And then I can, go do something in the area. Or the cruise ship has excursions that will bring you somewhere and then to the airport after, and your luggage stays on that bus so that you can do things. I've seen things in Florida like a trip to the Everglades, and then they bring you to the airport. And it specifically states only for people with flights after like 5 p.m. or something like that. Okay. So again, we don't want stress at the end either. Sometimes people would prefer to book an overnight stay to avoid rushing to the airport and risking missing a flight. Some clients want pre and post hotels. Even if it's not to see the city more, but just to relieve the stress of the airport. It helps with travel insurance coverage. Adding a buffer time supports claims if delays or cancellations affect your cruise, because insurance often requires reasonable planning. If they see that your flight was supposed to arrive 5 hours before the all aboard time, they're going to say, I'm sorry, that was your fault. You booked it in a way that wasn't reasonable. We're not going to cover that. People think, oh, I have travel insurance. They'll cover it if something happens. Most of the time, but not if you didn't do your due diligence as the travel agent planning or the client planning, right? That's not reasonable to say, I could make it in 5 hours. Well, yeah, if every single thing goes right, you'd be really stressed, but you could probably make it. If one thing goes wrong, you're in trouble. I've had times where I'm flying in, and sometimes it's 2 days before, because sometimes I don't fly to the port. I fly to my family members that live closer and drive. I had a time where I was delayed overnight. I was supposed to arrive in South Carolina at like 10 o'clock at night. I arrived in my connecting city at 2 in the morning, and they couldn't get me on a flight until 9 a.m. the next morning. Luckily, we had given ourselves time to drive from where we were. And we ended up doing the drive in 1 day instead of 2. But I gave myself reasonable planning, and it didn't work out. I got on the ship, but it was a much more stressful situation and much more exhausting, right? So travel insurance isn't going to cover it if you don't give yourself a buffer. So let's talk about how we plan like a pro. First, if your client is flying. Now, I'm going to tell you, as far as talking about this, if your client lives 3 hours or more from the port, if they're driving, they need to be in the day before. 3 hours is kind of that buffer. If they live in Florida A lot of people who live in Florida think they don't have to get to the port the day before if they're cruising out of Florida. If their drive is 3 hours or more, it is highly encouraged, recommended, get them into that port city the day before. All right? Because anything could happen. What if there's a horrible car accident and you're stuck on the interstate for hours? Right? Pre-cruise. People want to fly in at least the day early, more for international cruises, meaning leaving from an international place. That could be if they're flying to Europe, if they're flying to Puerto Rico or somewhere in South America. There are cruises that leave from there. Obviously, if they're going to Australia for a cruise, they're going to need to go a few days earlier. It takes a whole day to get there, and they're a day ahead of us. So you need to think about time differences too when flying internationally. Post-cruise, really 1 o'clock for a domestic flight or 3 p.m. for an international departure should be the earliest because you need to arrive at the airport earlier for a 3 p.m. departure. We want to book convenient hotels. We're going to look for hotels that are near the port or near the airport, preferably with free shuttle service for one of those. Not always possible. Miami, you can usually get that easily. Tampa in Florida, they're close to their airports. You know, when people fly into California for Long Beach, they can fly right into Long Beach or into LA, and they could get something with one or the other, free hotel shuttle or free cruise port shuttle. We can also, people are flying into Seattle for Alaska. That, again, close to the airport. If they're going out of Port Canaveral, they're flying into Orlando. Not as easy, but there are workarounds, all right? Because there are paid services as well that we can arrange for people. And Orlando has a lot of them for Port Canaveral because of the fact that the airport is so far. They know that. So a lot of people will stay at the airport and then, or a cruise hotel near the airport. They'll go back to the airport with the free shuttle the next day. And maybe they've paid for the cruise ship's transportation from the airport or something like that. So we want to make sure that where we book the hotels are convenient for either free shuttle services or transportation services that we can arrange, right? Bonus points for hotels that offer cruise parking. There are hotels that offer park and snooze or park, snooze, and cruise. They have packages like that we can put together for our clients that they, if they drive in, they can leave their car there and pay a weekly amount and they get a shuttle from the hotel. Typically, those cost less than paying for parking in the cruise port. Or if they have, luggage transfer services. Hey, we have a cruise shuttle and we'll bring your luggage for you to the cruise terminal, right? We want to arrange any transfers in advance. Please don't wait till the day before or the day of, or your client's on the cruise. Let's plan the transfer for after the cruise while they're already on the ship. Don't do that. Now, cruise line transfers are reliable. They're usually not the least expensive, right? Private shuttles, ride shares, people will use Uber a lot. Hotel shuttles, even when they're paid for, they can all be more affordable and more flexible. The cruise line transfers are typically at specific times. We also want to factor in travel time, especially in big port cities with traffic, or if there's a big event going on in that city around the time your client is going on their cruise. Okay, maybe there's road shutdown. We want to make sure, again, we're giving plenty of time. In Miami, it could take you an hour to go 10 miles, depending how busy it is that day, right? Because that's just Miami traffic. So we want to arrange all of that so the clients have everything already taken care of. Now, if they're saying we're just going to Uber, we want to at least give them suggestions of, okay, your check-in time is this. You should probably give yourself at least this amount of time on the rideshare, right? Those kinds of things. And some of that can be done by, let's say they're leaving on a Saturday. You check, the week before on a Saturday, go to something like Google Maps, put in the address of their hotel, put in the address of the cruise port, and see how long it says it'll take. Now we know an estimate, right? That's helpful. All right. We can also plan sightseeing and meals. So if they're arriving early, we can create a short itinerary for their free time in that port city. Maybe walking tours, famous landmarks, must-try local restaurants, right? We're going to book activities with flexible or cancelable policies. We can use Viator for activities. That's a great one for activities. We can look for free things for them to do. Now, if they're doing something not free and they're booking through our Viator, now we're getting more commission, right? We want to use a timeline or a checklist. Flights should be booked. Now, obviously, if they booked the cruise within those 6 months, we want to book the flights at the same time, okay? Flights booked 6 to 9 months in advance. Hotel reserved 3 to 6 months in advance. Now, that might seem like a really long time for a hotel reservation. It depends how busy that hotel is. One example, a lot of times I will fly my February break. I will cruise that week. More often than not, the Daytona 500 falls in the same weekend as my cruise. All the hotels, even as far away as Port Canaveral, are much more booked up and much more expensive if you wait to book them. So booking, those hotels far out is helpful. And a lot of times we can do book now, pay later. They don't have to necessarily be paid in full at the time of booking. Okay. Transfers and excursions. So those excursions could be both on the ship or off the ship, before or after their trip. Like it could be during the cruise or not during the cruise. 1 to 2 months out. Travel insurance needs to be purchased within 1 to 2 weeks of the deposit being made. If you're not using the cruise line insurance and you're using an outside insurance like Tinleg, it has to be done within a certain amount of time of it being booked. Okay. The cruise line insurance, it varies by cruises. Excuse me. How long they give you to purchase it. Most of them, it just needs to be purchased by final payment, but there's things that aren't covered, if you don't do it right away. Okay. So feel free if you want to take a screenshot of that timeline of when we should be doing things for our clients. And I would err on the longer side of most of those to ensure that we're getting the best pricing and availability for our clients. So I would plan the 9 months, the 6 months, the 2 months, the 2 weeks. Okay. All right. Let's talk about how do we talk to our clients about this and upsell it? How do we encourage them to essentially spend more money in order to ensure a smooth trip? Obviously, upselling also benefits us, but it also is really going to benefit them and their trip. So we want to focus on the value, not just the cost. So honestly, this should be with everything we do when we're working as a travel agent, because our job is to find the best value for our clients' goals for that trip. So here's some words we can use. And again, these are great things if you're like, I stumble over words when talking to clients. I never know the right words. Feel free to screenshot these. So we could say something like, think of your pre-cruise stay as travel insurance in action. because one delayed flight could cost you the entire cruise. For those people that are like, no, I've flown in the day of before, it was fine. I understand you flew in before on the day of and it was fine, but it might not always be. I highly recommend you are in the port city at least the day before. Use fear of missing out and risk language. Nobody, as we said, wants to miss that flight or miss that ship that they paid for. Cruise ships wait for no one, but an extra night gives you peace of mind. It also gives you a chance to enjoy a new city, right? Position it as part of the experience. You're already traveling. Why not explore the departure city? Some of the best food and culture is right there before you board the ship. Okay. Now, some people are not going to need any of this. They're like, yeah, absolutely. If you recommend I'm there the day before, we're doing it. Some people are going to fight you or not know why it's important. Not fight you, but you know what I mean. Here's some more examples. Go ahead, screenshot this if you'd like them to. Bundle for convenience. Suggest a package with flight, hotel, and transfers. Offer to handle all the logistics. We should be doing this anyway. You can just show up and enjoy. I'll have everything taken care of. Okay. Highlight the insurance compatibility. So that you know, some travel insurance policies might deny claims if you didn't build in a travel buffer. So this protects your investment. Use hotel perks as a hook. This hotel includes breakfast and a free cruise port shuttle. It's a no-brainer, right? Upsell the post-cruise too. Disembarkation days are early and exhausting. Imagine ending your trip with a relaxing day and evening instead of airport chaos. These are all ways that we can, talk to our clients about the importance of doing this, right? And I'm going to show you, we're going to look at some stuff too. I'm giving you all the info first, and then we're going to put it into action, okay? I'm glad you love the scripts. I love to be able to give people wording because sometimes it's hard. And if you forget the wording or you lose the screenshots, you can always go to ChatGPT and say, hey, give me some ways to explain to a client why it's important to get to the cruise port city a day before or stay the day after, an extra night. ChatGPT will help you out. So key takeaways, we always want to recommend arriving at least a day early. We want to help clients end their vacation on a high note. That's where a post-cruise stay could come in to play. Add value, reduce stress, protect their investment. Position it as part of the vacation, not just a travel day. This is an easy way to increase your client satisfaction and your earnings. So when you're booking a cruise for a client, planning the cruise is only half of the journey. Pre and post travel makes the whole experience smooth and unforgettable. So let's take a look at some things. All right. So let's say, now we're not going to worry about the cruise itself. We've already got the cruise booked. Let's say that we have a client who has a cruise booked. It is let's say they're going on a 6-day cruise. Now, even more, they've got some time to work with because, maybe they've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days if they took the whole week off, right? So I'm going to say we're flying from Boston to Miami. We're going to go in February. Their cruise leaves on Sunday the 15th. Oh, wait, no. Their cruise leaves on Monday the 16th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they get off the ship on the 21st. I'm going to give them a trip to Miami for 2 nights at the beginning and 1 night at the end. Now that's really just that work week, right? And we're going to look. I like to look Google Flights a lot of times. Now, this is also giving me Fort Lauderdale, so let me make sure I have just Miami Airport. All right. So we have a nonstop. This is at night. Let's see. I'm going to make it. These are 2 adults, so they don't necessarily need a nonstop, but let's see our timing. 7 a.m. to 10:51 a.m. 2 people, 1,500. That one actually is a nonstop. This one's kind of better timing, but it's about 100 more. Let me just see what there is. I would say this one because if they don't live right in Boston, getting in there for 7 a.m. might be a pain in the butt. They are coming home the day after the cruise, so we don't have to do a flight after 1 p.m. because they're getting off the ship the day before and they're going to do 1 night in Miami. So it does look like 11:15. I'm just trying to look at. The later it is, the more expensive it's getting. I'm going to tell you that this is a school vacation week in New England. This is part of why the flights are so high. So, I mean, they can fly different airlines. That's not a big deal because it's going to save them about $300 to do the 11:15 instead of the noon. And it's not crazy early, you know? So, now we have, it is high, and I'm going to tell you it's because of, it's a school vacation week. So I'm just going to keep that as we know the pricing now, $16.86. So I have multiple ways to check for rooms. Let me just open them all up. We, of course, can look Evo Plus to try to make that instant commission. So we need, let me look at those dates again so I remember. Hold on. February 14th to Monday the 16th is the first one I need. I will tell you that sometimes Evo Plus, if it's too far out, they don't have anything. Sometimes they're better for shorter distance trips or shorter, like not shorter distance, but shorter time away from the date of travel. Search. Why don't you look like you're going? And I will at the same time kind of start looking at the others. Because Evo Plus is sometimes great. Sometimes we get better or similar for the client and better for us on other sites. I am signed in. No, I don't want to add to that. That was a pretend booking. All right, let's see what's coming up here, though. Come on, computer. You can do it. It's absolutely because I have too much open at once. But that's okay. Come on. Go back to Evo Plus. Am I frozen for you guys? Oh, I'm frozen. I'm gonna turn off my camera and see if that makes a difference. Was it just my visual that was frozen or was my voice frozen? So see, like Evo Plus is saying sold out, which really might mean it's not sold out. It's just that it's too early. Sometimes it's that it's too early. So let's look room res. Ah, what are you doing, computer? So I'm going to close Evo Plus because it said sold out. Which again, I don't think it's truly sold out. I think it's just they're not showing inventory yet because they don't know what they're going to need to fill yet. Remember, it is a wholesale site, and that is sometimes better for shorter distance till the travel date. All right, so February 14th to 16th, one room with 2 adults. It's because I'm trying to do too much all at once. This is how I look things up, though, when I'm looking for a client. I check multiple at the same time instead of look at one, then go check another. I'll search at the same time. It's more efficient that way. All right, Miami. Now, remember when you qualify your client and you do that initial phone call, ask them about the budget for the hotel as well. All right, we want to make sure that we know what is their budget and what is their, like, this is the limit we want to spend on that hotel. So we have a question in the chat. How do you know when to use basically which vendor, right? And the answer is there's never a quote unquote best vendor. We want to be shopping the vendors to find what is in the best interest of both our clients and ourselves. All right, now I am actually looking for a specific hotel. I'm going to see if it shows up on here. So this is their pre-hotel stay. I have personally stayed at this one. It does have an airport shuttle. It does not have a cruise port shuttle, but it is not that far in order to do like an Uber. So I'm going to check the pricing, compared it to Expedia. It does look like this might be cheaper. And I'll tell you this about this hotel, the pictures don't do it justice. It's way nicer than it looks from these pictures. It's actually a really nice, basic but nice hotel. It's got great, it's got a food court. It's got the breakfast is not included, but there is a nice breakfast. There's a great like lounge area to sit. You could sit out at the pool at night, those types of things as well. All right, so this is a couple, so king bed's good. All right. So this one's gonna be 531 through Expedia. I'm gonna go back to RoomRes, check the price. And I will tell you, I don't typically use Vax for standalone hotels. And where we're not doing the hotel for the whole stay of the flight, it's hard to package it together. Can you package it together with Vax? Yes, but it can be kind of a pain. And it may or may not give your client any better pricing anyway. All right, so if we come down here, Deluxe King, it does look like This is going to be more, but they pay in 208 days. So it might be a matter of, does the client, I don't know what Expedia was. I don't know if it was a pay now or if it was pay later. So it is looking like RoomRez is going to be more money for the same hotel. Come on, computer. All right, let's see. This is also non-refundable. We don't want non-refundable. So this, while it is less money, it is non-refundable and pay in full at the time of booking. Let me just check if there was a refundable rate. Let me try that again. I may have just overlooked it and went too fast. We typically don't want to book non-refundable for multiple reasons. Because, there we go, I can change. Even with travel insurance, like if we were to get, where this is multiple things, if we were to get travel insurance, it doesn't cover non-refundable rates. Okay. So this one is fully refundable before February 13th, pay Expedia or pay the property. So they can wait and pay the day of. We're at 631. Let's compare it now to that price on RoomRez. Oh, we pay at property. Now where this is like a $10 difference, $10 difference, right? 640.98. So really 631, 641. Tell us our commission. Why does it say 530 still? It just told me it was more. Oh, it's because that's the old one. Pay when you stay. So in this situation where it's a $10 difference, I honestly would probably check my commission to decide which one to book it on. So this is a $53 commission. RoomRez for a $10 more booking, it's a $70 commission. I would book on RoomRez because of that. All right. We're going to pretend, I'm just going to do a template for marketing purposes. I'm pretending that I'm making that so that I can then put another hotel at the end. Some items are no longer available. What? Well, that's disappointing. All right, let's go back. So maybe we're booking it there anyway. It might just be that room. We can check a different room. You say you're available. Nope. So see that it's similar pricing for the non-refundable. All right, let's try that again. Room only. Because it's still showing up when I click it new. That was weird because it's showing up now. All right, now I would do add another product. Again, I'm going to check Miami, Florida. This is going to be for February. They get off the ship on February 21st, right? Is that what I said? 1, 2, 3, 4, or the 20th. What did I do for flights? This is an imaginary client, so I don't have the dates in my head. All right, February 22nd. So they need one night stay at the end. Not that one. February 21st to 22nd. Now we could do the same hotel, or we could put them in another location so they can experience a different part of Miami. So, Liza, the way you can hold on Expedia Tap is ones that don't require payment until they're at the hotel. Otherwise, if it's needs to be paid in full, it's gonna need to be paid in full. You can't really hold it. So maybe they want Let's do let's do something in Miami Beach. They've just been on a ship the whole time. They're gonna want a nice place, be on the beach, relax. Now they could easily be at this hotel by, 10, 11, before noon, right? Look at this. This looks beautiful. 3.5 stars. I never book, just for reference, I never book below a 3-star hotel for clients. Sometimes for myself, but looking what's around. I mean, that looks like a good deal to me right there. I mean, look how nice that looks. It's gonna be on Miami Beach, which is gonna be close because the port's right over here. You do also want to check these things to let your clients know this does have a resort fee. It's only $25, so that's not a big deal. We do want to do the flexible cancellation. Again, it's part of this template I'm making. So it does show us the resort fee. That would be paid at check-in no matter how we book it, right? So now it shows us the whole thing, right? Our first one has free cancellation till February 11th. They're checking in the 14th. Our next one has free cancellation until the 15th. So they'll already be on their cruise, right? And then it would give us the timeline for paying if this wasn't a template. So now we have, let me pull up my calculator. I've got 641 plus 207.7. All right, we've got our flight 1686. All right, so that's their flights and their hotels. And what I probably would do, now obviously we're also booking the cruise. I'm going to close out Expedia because that was not giving me as good of results. I'm going to go to my Viator to see what they could do while they're there. And honestly, they might just want to hang out at the beach when they come back. If it's that post cruise, they're just going to want to drop their stuff off and relax because that is an early morning and stressful. But when they go in at the beginning, they've got a couple of days because they're flying in on the 14th and their cruise isn't until the 16th. So let's look for something for them to do on the 15th. Maybe they want to do a Key West day trip. Look at that, $39. So what I would do, I would look for different activities. Let's read this description. And make getting there from Miami smooth, full day sightseeing tour complete with round trip transit, hotel pickup, air conditioned vehicle, live narration, introduce you region's highlights. Key West have half a day to explore independently or upgrade to a snorkel tour by Glass Bottom Boat. All right, I would definitely upgrade to the Glass Bottom Boat. Let's see. So it does not pick up at their hotel, but you can also call or email to do a pickup location. Based on hotel location, 6 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. in Miami. They select the closest pickup location they can. All right. Their hotel is not in Bricknell, so that's not a problem. This is also something I could call Viator and ask about if it would work. All right, so let's just say, because I'm going to put suggestions of things they can do in, oh, it's not going till February, in a curated list for them, right? So maybe I go like this, new created list. All I did was click the heart. Miami pre-post cruise training. Now, obviously, I would put the client's name there. Create wish list, save. All right, let's see what else showed up for Miami. That just sounded fun. Maybe they want to do a sunset cocktail cruise. That looks lovely. Right? I can put lots of ideas there for them. And then they can choose. Yeah, some of them are not letting you book that far out, though. It is kind of far to get to February right now. But let's pretend it wasn't that far away and we were working on this. Now, this one does say the meeting point, so they would have to get an Uber to that location. Not a big deal. It's super easy to get an Uber in Miami. Oops, not new. Curated list, this one. Once you've made the list, if you're adding it to something, you have to scroll down to apply. All right, let's see what else. Oh, maybe they want to go to the Everglades. Like, we can give them lots of examples of things. All right, here we go. 15th, 2 people. And then it gives times, right? They're not in downtown. They're in Miami in general. But we don't even need to do that because we would help them with that. Add to curated list. Save. Maybe they just want to do I love this in cities. They've never been to Miami before. That's a good company. I don't even need to read the details. Big Bus is a good one. I use it all over the world for people. Add. And it depends what my client told me they were interested in. Depends on what I might add here, right? But we get the idea that I could give them lots of activities, potential. Let's look for the date they come back, because maybe they do want to do something the day they get off the ship. Some of them I already have in there. Because it will be early, they still have most of the day. It's coming up with the same things. Look at that. Miami Moonlit ATV. That sounds cool. Right? So I'm just giving my client ideas of what they could do before and after. And they might say, you know what? We just want to hang out at the hotel. That's fine. Little Havana food tour. All right. Let's see the time though. I mean, they've got something in the afternoon. They could do an evening tour, right? The day they get off the ship. So I give them some ideas. Now, here's what our trip now looks like. Let me pull up this. So now I'm going to come in Saturday, 2/14/25, fly to Miami. And I would put those flights in. We have American to 2010, American 2010, Boston to Miami, what time? 9:16 to 1 p.m. 9:16 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Check in. All right, I'm with this. Free airport shuttle to hotel. Sonesta, Miami Airport. Swear I can type. Deluxe queen room or king. Deluxe king room. And then I would put, so that they know, I would put pricing in here. I mean, for myself as well. $641. All right, their flights are, oh, that would have like individual because they're two different flights. So let me do this. 989 is their first flight. Sunday, 2/15/25. Enjoy Miami. Now, they absolutely could do something this evening as well. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go to Viator. If I click my name, I can see, or my profile, I can see all my curated lists. When I click into this list, I can now click Share with Client, copy link, possible activities in Miami. I highlight, I create a link, apply. I'm also going to do this because maybe they want to do them that day too. Monday, 2/16. Board cruise ship. Take an Uber from hotel to the port. Cruise. Monday, 2/16 to what day of the week was it? Need a calendar. Saturday, not June, February. To Saturday, 2/21/25. Saturday, 2/21/25. Enjoy Miami. Oopsie. Uber to hotel from port. Their hotel is Secret Garden, Miami Beach. Junior room was 20770 plus $25 resort fee. Sunday. So see how I have multiple things here for them. Now, this is not a fancy itinerary. I'm just putting it together. More for myself than for the client. Fly home. So we have Delta. $13.99. At 11:15 to 2:48. This is going to cost $697. Right? So this is a simple way we could put together that pre and post cruise trip for them. All right. So really, the additional cost is less than $1,000 for 3 extra nights and days and a whole lot less stress. Does this make sense for how we would arrange this for a client and why we would possibly do this? Okay. I will give you this just so that if you want to see like a sample itinerary. So that's just I mean, and this is super simple. You know, I'm not one to just send a quote to a client, but I would probably send this to them. And this would have more detail about the cruise because we'd also be presenting the cruise and what that cost. And up here, I would probably put total cost, you know, potential extra cost of activity. You know, I'd put that information in there. So, you know, maybe up here I would put total cost, additional activities, additional, recommend outside. I recommend outside insurance to cover the whole trip. And then I would go Kinleg. Yeah, you could absolutely use this for other things you do. I I need to go to my travel agent login. Kinleg travel agent login. Now, where you specifically got a package from a vendor though with all of that quote, you know, you can also send them that when you're talking to them. So if you have never done your Tinleg, under where it says account, that's where you're going to find your agent link. And people can come in here and then they can choose what the best policy is going to be for them. Because then it'll cover the flights, anything else they book, the cruise, and all the hotels. Okay. Right. So that's kind of what I would do for a breakdown. Obviously, I would brand it with my business and that kind of a thing as well. Okay. Do we have any questions before we close out? Any questions? Let me just check the Facebook Live. Check that there's no questions there. You're welcome. I'm glad this was helpful. I do not see any questions. I see there's people watching on Facebook. So if you have questions, go ahead, put those in the chat. If you come up with questions after you're watching the replay of this, please put them in there. Maybe tag me in there, and I will answer. There may also be other agents who can answer those questions as well. Okay. So thank you for joining me, and hopefully this was helpful, and I look forward to working with you on another training. Bye, everybody.